do a little modeling pose. Why is everyone so like oral in their modeling?
Who's oral? You're being oral.
You know, the oral fixation. I'm not.
I'm going to chew on my glasses right now.
Hey everybody, it is Exo Man and the lovely farm girl.
Hi everyone.
And today I have something interesting to talk about. As you probably know from the title, it is regarding hernias. And first of all, let me clear this up. I'm not a doctor. She's not a doctor. We're not therapists. We're not doctor's assistants. What do you call them? PAs?
We just like to share our experience.
We're not giving you advice. I'm just going to tell you about my experience. They say that you got a 25% chance. If this has happened to you lately, this might be a good video for you to watch. Or if you're curious.
25%
of men have this hernia. And the hernia that I'm specifically talking about today is an inguinal hernia, right? Which means the groin. I believe that I have all my life had a umbilical hernia. But let's first.
It's got an outie, but
let's talk about
sensitive outie.
Yes, very very sensitive outie. And, you know, I talked to the doctor and I said, is this a hernia? He said, yeah, it could be a slight hernia. But so let me tell you my experience and what I've learned about this. Let's start at the beginning. Inguinal means there's a Latin root in there, groin, inguinal, groin. And what the inguinal canal is, it's right down here, below and to the side. On either side, you have two inguinal canals. You're below and to the side of your belly, right down in there, where the crease of your leg is, kind of by that gland. Mm-hmm. And if you look online, you will see this inguinal canal. And it's one of those canals that goes actually into your abdominal cavity, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a compromised area to begin with. And it is the origin of your testes. So when you're a kid, you know, they say your balls haven't dropped yet. When they're telling you you're immature or you're green behind the ears. Well, that inguinal canal is where your testes drop out of your torso from the inside to the outside into that pouch.
Before you're born. Right before you're born, right?
I think it's after you're born. I'm not sure exactly. I thought it was after you were born. And sometimes this will occur. So what happens is that site where that canal is doesn't close up properly after the testes drops. And sometimes this happens with children, and that is an indirect, I think they call it.
Yes.
An indirect hernia.
So most kids don't have to have mesh. They just do.
So children usually don't have to have mesh. Young people, they say till you're like 18 sometimes. But as an adult, when you're older, that's a direct hernia. That means it just kind of opened up. Yeah. And so what they mean by hernia is that canal, there are several different areas, and I don't have experience as yet in any other but this. But what happens is that that opening gets compromised or opens up or tears open a little bit, and the lining of your abdominal wall or intestines can protrude through there. Mm-hmm. Now, so I'm self-diagnosing, I'm looking, I'm watching.
He figured it all out before
I'm reading. And did I say that the first known? Okay, let me give you some history that I've learned. The first known repair of an inguinal hernia was Ramses the Fifth, and my friends, that was before the Common Era, BC, or before Christ, as some of you like to say. And somehow they fixed him.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. Surgically, they went into the cadaver, into the mummified remains when they discovered this tomb, and they found that he had that repaired.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. There were some amazing things done back then, and there were lost arts that took millennia to, rediscover. And
Still are.
yeah,
Lost.
Probably with the Library of Egypt, what have you. Anyway, so going forward into the more modern era, before like say 100, 200 years ago, they would wear girdles of sorts. I asked my doctor
Kind of hold
about
everything
that.
in there.
Yeah, I kind of said,
Suck
man,
it
if I
in.
walked around with a tennis ball in my shorts, pressurizing that, I wouldn't feel so bad.
We'd all have questions for you, though.
My experience was kind of aching, a dull pain, and I felt very sensitive, very compromised. You know what I mean? Like weak, like that apprehension, like oh boy, my guts are.
Something just happened.
I was telling people I keep pushing my guts back in because I would feel when I would push down there, I would feel it go, and something would move back in. I would feel it go back up in there, and so I said, all right, I'll be walking around holding my guts in until I can get surgery. I've never had surgery, with the exception of this bad boy right here getting cut off.
And if you could do it without, you would.
I did with that. I did with that. I watched the anesthesiologist walk around like this.
Oh, you did it without anesthesia.
Yeah, because
I'm saying do it without surgery. But
what?
yeah.
Oh, the toe? Yeah, do it
No,
yourself.
if you could fix this without surgery,
I would love
you
to. I would
But-
love to. That's an important point.
Yeah.
If you're being told that you can that this will heal, I think you're being lied to. I'm 99% sure of that.
And yeah, you can't buy a topical something that you put over it that all of a sudden heals it.
The
up.
problem,
It's
my friends, is that for everything that there is a cure for, there is a lie for. And usually I tell you I'm anti-medical establishment. In other words, I don't want to go into too much depth in this, but I've stayed away, as have you.
Well, and we try to do things naturally.
I've stayed away
whenever
from
we can.
doctors as much as possible, and
Healing.
I've written things about that wrong site surgery. Oops, we cut off the wrong leg. Oops, we took out the wrong organ. Malpractice, wrongful death. It happens. You can read the stats.
Still,
The
it
stats
happens.
on it
It's crazy.
are horrifying.
Yeah.
The number of people killed and maimed each year. So we hope to stay out of those doctors' offices and hospitals as much as we can, and a lot of that we accomplish by eating right and getting plenty of exercise.
Exactly.
We don't.
By deterring disease.
Yeah, we can't afford all that expensive insurance, and we don't want all those trips to the hospitals and doctors. And we're thankful, knock on wood, that we have avoided a lot of that by taking care of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So, between the ages of 25 and 40 is, I think, when this starts occurring in men. 25% of men. So if this happens to you, don't freak out. Make an appointment, get in there and get seen. My doctor told me that men walk around with this. He said, "You're okay." I said, "Am I? Is this all in my mind?" Yeah.
Oh.
My fear, my apprehension, and my sensitivity. I said, "This is all in my mind." I mean, I'm worried. I was worried about this.
Yeah.
I was worried if I strained or coughed too much. In fact, I hold it when I cough.
Well, it's got to feel weird coming, like the inside of your body coming out, being pushed out whenever you.
And that's what I was asking.
Stress.
Is that in my mind that it's a big deal, and when it's really not? And the answer was somewhere in the middle. He said, "No, it's not in your mind. If you feel bad, it's.
I mean, you can feel it happening.
It's real."
Yeah.
But he said, a lot of guys will walk around with this for months or years. And I thought that was kind of crazy, because what you don't really want is to
make
get
it
what
worse.
get what you call when you go in for surgery. It's either a pretty straightforward, or it's what they call a complex inguinal hernia, or complicated, and that just means that some of your intestines have come out into your scrotum, come out of your body and are in your outer pouch, your scrotum, and or strangulated. That's what they call strangulated. If you get a loop that just pops out of that inguinal canal and it gets choked off, your feces is blocked. You can't pass gas and you can't poop. That'll kill you, and that'll kill you quick. So don't.
And one other thing our experience, it doesn't affect your junk unless something like that would happen.
What would you mean by that?
Well, you know, like it doesn't interfere with
your activity?
Yes.
Yeah.
How to say, you know.
I said, it's like a little kid. Last night I was like, I was remembering when I was a little kid and I would eat my food, but not all of it, and say to my mom, I only have enough room for dessert.
Ice cream can find
I'm full, but I have room for ice cream right here. Well, last night I was like, I'm fine if I'm horizontal, if you know what I mean, but it's the standing up, running around thing that hurts. So everything worked out, yeah. What else? Just get yourself into the doctor, because you're gonna have to pay your doctor to look at it, and then you're gonna get a referral to a surgeon. Mm-hmm. And generally this is gonna be like a thoracic or general surgeon. And hopefully you'll get a gifted man or woman to take care of it. But they say it's just so routine.
Which hasn't happened yet. So we're kind of waiting for that. And then we'll do an update on how the surgery goes and all that. I'm going to be there the whole time because I want to make sure they don't do the wrong thing.
I don't know if it's going to work out the way we're hoping. I don't think they're going to let you in.
Yeah, they are.
I'm apprehensive about it, but supposedly I looked up this doctor, and they don't like people asking, or not saying they're worried or stressed about the surgery. I don't know. Maybe I have to find another surgeon. But
well, I just want things to go the way you want them to go.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make sure.
Good.
You know, in case you need blood, I want to give blood that you can have.
And see, that's the thing. We're complicating it, I think. I think this is, my doctor said they have this down to such a science now. It's just, you know, I want to do let's talk about the methods. There is open surgery and there is laparoscopic surgery. You know, laparoscopic meaning they put a couple of small incisions and they stick something in there.
Like a camera.
Like a camera with the surgical tools, and they do it like almost microscopic. It's very precision surgery. And of course there's the way they just open you up, and if it's a complex hernia, they're going to open you up. None of this is terribly big. It's my understanding that it can be an outpatient thing. Mm-hmm. Some people say, you got to spend 2 days in the hospital. That's not necessary.
I mean, I would think with something simple like this, you wouldn't have.
And the other thing that a lot of you people that are smart and ask questions want to know, mesh or no mesh? Okay, so what did we learn?
It depends on the situation.
Largely upon your age, right?
Right. The older you get, the more likely you are to need mesh.
So I asked around. Always ask around. I don't know why people don't tell people what they're experiencing and ask them if they've knowledge.
Well, and especially knowing that 25% of men get it at some point in their lives.
If you have 4 men in your neighborhood, one of them has had inguinal surgery or hernia.
Around.
At least had the hernia. So I asked around, and one of my cool older neighbors, he's 80 or 81 now, he's had both done. He said, Jay, I had them done in the mid-70s and the mid-80s, and both were mesh. So mesh or not to mesh. He said, I've never had a problem.
And I think that they've gotten better and better over the years, even with just the mesh, like the types of mesh they have or whatever.
Yeah. And so I talked to my doctor about that. I said, I'm apprehensive about that, about the body rejecting the mesh, which is said to be a possibility. And my wife's friend has had reconstruction, abdominal reconstruction after multiple pregnancies. He said, that, my friend, is a completely different animal.
Yeah, that was
he said,
what is it, hiatal hernia?
Yeah,
or something
he said
like
that's meaning that would be much more likely to fail. Yeah, way more involved and way more prone to failure. Something you have to have done. But they repaired her with pig tissue.
I don't know.
So anyway, I'm just gonna go with what's advised because I'm not the professional. I've read up and I'll, hopefully they'll won't use mesh if they don't have to. It's going to depend, I guess, upon the size and nature of it.
Right.
So mesh or not to mesh, And anesthesia. I wanted to have it done without being put under.
Just a local.
Funny thing is, that's terrifying to me. Most people are terrified to go under the knife without it. I'm terrified to go with it. I don't want to be talking to the guy that's got my guts in his hand, you know?
Ugh, not me.
I want to say,
out.
hey, wait. Hey, will you take some video of that?
Yeah.
Hand on my cell phone.
No.
I did that with my toe. And I'm not kidding you. A young PA was like, I'll do it. And I gave him my phone beforehand. And he took pictures of my toe being
It was disgusting.
cut off. And I was, of course, anesthetized. And all I could feel was as he was sawing, you know. And apparently it's difficult to get a toe off. I would have just lobbed it. But he took pictures of it on the little mayo stand on the stainless tray. You know. It was good.
Getting
gory.
a little nauseous.
Okay. So anything else
like
that we
blood when
learned
it's
about
outside
inguinal
of the
hernias
body.
that would help people who have apprehension? Don't be apprehensive. Don't be scared.
It'll be fine.
Just get it dealt with.
Yeah.
It's not as big a deal as I thought. I hope it continues the same way.
But we'll definitely let you know.
I'm glad it's not bilateral, which means
Yeah.
both of them. That the other one could happen down the road. You don't know. It's off. Also, I'll tell you this: mine is on the right side. Guess what? Most often they're on the right side. So I may go the rest of my days without.
Maybe because like you strain, like when you're lifting things and doing whatever.
I think that what I read was the right side is the last side to close.
Oh.
And maybe more likely to remain open. Something like that. It's something interesting like that. But what else? I can't speak to umbilical hernias. I've got a friend who's had one for years, and I'm gonna kick his ass because he hasn't gone in yet. It's so ridiculous.
He really needs to go.
Fixed. I understand fear, but you know.
It is painful and it affects his life.
It affects your life, and it can be.
Not good.
It can be easily relatively easily repaired and done. Get done with it. You don't need to wear a girdle the rest of your life or put a tennis ball down your trousers or whatever. Just get it taken care of.
I think we should wrap you with an ace bandage while you wait.
It's uncomfortable and it's scary, but after the trip to my doctor and him poking around in there and telling me don't worry about it, it makes me feel a lot better, a lot safer, and you know, I'm just gonna get it taken care of. And it's been how many days?
Like 4 maybe?
4 days, and God knows it might be a week, 2 weeks before I can be seen, another week before I have the surgery. I don't know how quickly that will go, but we'll update you. All right?
For sure.
Is that it on this stuff? I know there's going to be a million questions, but there's a lot of videos on this, and I just wanted to give you an experiential video. Is that a word?
Yes, I think so.
All right, let's end with a nice
It
pose.
is now.
Thanks for watching, everyone. You'll be well. Stay well.
Be safe.